Hello YouTube, it's William. Got some blades that's tempering, so I thought maybe I would talk about something. Well, okay, they're cooling now. I'll talk about something that I haven't addressed in a while. I have some new subscribers, and big shout out to you guys. I usually try to send you a personal welcome, but with Google, I don't know. I haven't been able to do it for a while. So let me do it right now. Say welcome to all the new subscribers, and I appreciate all your support. So, but let's talk about, well, welcome to another Whittle Talk. Let's talk about blade control. And for those of you who've seen some of my older videos, you know that I'm a huge advocate of blade control. My philosophy on knife safety is 99% of safety is blade control. If you control the blade, then you're not going to intentionally cut yourself. So if you control the blade, then it's safer. No matter how you hold it, how you cut, whatever you do with the blade, cutting toward yourself, cutting away from yourself, using push cuts, whatever it is, if you control the blade, then 99.9% of the time you're not going to cut yourself. Okay, so there also is another aspect of blade control. Now, if you want to do fine curls, and I'm doing this blind, so just bear with me. Fine curls, like so. And if you had the right material, I mean, you could start curls up here at the top and go all the way down. It just depends on your control. And right now, if they break off, that's fine. I mean, that's not a big deal. You can still pick those up and put them in the fire. Okay, so I don't know if I'm getting this in the camera or not. I hope so. So that's all blade control. And how you get blade control is by practice. You know, I keep saying get out in the backyard, whittle on a stick. And it's not because you need to whittle on a stick, which that's a good thing, because it frees your mind up to think. But it also teaches you about knives, how to control the knife. Different grinds lend itself to different things. So you got to learn each grind. The blade shape lends itself to different ways of cutting. So you have to learn that knife. So whatever angle you're using the knife at depends on what kind of curl you're going to get. Either you're going to get very thin curls when you lay the blade down closer, or you're going to get very thick curls, and it just digs in if you hold the blade up at more of an angle. So, for instance, if you wanted to slice off this, you would hold it at a different angle, and see it just slices off a very thick piece. But if you wanted to do a thin piece, and you hold the blade at more of a less of a steep angle. Hope all this is making sense. But it all boils down to blade control. Now, with all that said, another factor that plays into knives is blade geometry. You'll get a lot of blades that you'll try to do this with, and it's just impossible to do that with because of the blade geometry. And I'll go through this again. I mean, I've talked about it in other videos, and so it may be old news to some. But if you look at the top of the apex, right here where the secondary bevel is, you look at the thickness of the blade. If it's very thick at the top of that apex, then it's not going to slice very well, because you got to get the blade up above that apex in order for the actual cutting edge to hit the material. Okay, so look at that. The thinner it is, the weaker it is, but it also cuts better. So if you want a blade that you can baton and beat on and do all kinds of things, then you want something that's thick, it's beefy. But if you want something that slices and cuts and does good feather sticks, then you want a blade that's very thin at that point. Scandis, people love Scandis because it has a very sharp edge. But personally, I don't like Scandis because that apex is too thick up at the top, and if you're going to slice something, then a lot of times that apex gets in the way. But for what they were designed for, they excel at. So if you just want one for processing wood and feather sticks and carving and things like that in soft woods, then a Scandi knife is probably the better choice. But if you want a knife that you're going to be skinning game and things like that, and kitchen prep and slicing tomatoes and onions and things like that, then perhaps you want to look at something that's either a high saber grind or a full flat design. Kitchen knives are full flat for a reason. That's because they slice better. As long as that peak of that apex on the blade here is thin. Now, someone keeps asking me, or has asked me in the past, what's the difference between 01 and 1095? Well, just briefly, 1095 has the ability to create a thinner apex up at the top. With 1095, you have to leave a little bit more steel there, and it's at microscopic levels. So, I mean, looking at the blade, you're not going to be able to tell that much. But using it, if you use a 01 that's ground properly, compared to a 1095 that's ground to the peak of its performance, you can tell a difference. And that all comes down to actually grind geometry. But with 01, I am able, because I can get a Rockwell of above 60 and still remain some flexibility. The peak of 01, I heard a knife maker tell me one time that if you're not getting 62 to 65 on your Rockwell scale for 01, then you're wasting your money on 01. And I find that that's very true. With the compounds and the makeup of 01 steel, you can get the blades thinner, they cut better, they're more resilient, they actually flex better, and they're also a little bit more corrosion resistant. But if your maker doesn't go above that 60 Rockwell, then you really should just might as well stay with 1095 and not pay the additional cost. So, but anyway, back to blade control, and all of that plays into blade control and how you angle the knife. The main thing is you just have to get out in the backyard at the very least, or on your porch, and you have to use the knife. You have to get a feel for the knife. How does it do curls? What is the best angle for it to do curls? It should be to where you can just pick up the knife in the dark and take a stick and just do some quick curls and without even thinking. So the knife is an extension of your hand. That's what blade control is. Alright, so I'm glad you guys joined me on this little whittle talk, and I hope it was helpful for you. When I say get in the backyard and whittle, I'm not saying that that's just a pastime. That's actually beneficial. It creates a bond between you and the knife. It's not an inanimate object. It's part of you. It's part of your hand. And that's when you start getting control of the blade. Now, with that said, are you going to cut yourself? Yeah, you're going to cut yourself. That's just part of the game. You know, I cut myself every once in a while, and sometimes, most of the time when I cut myself, it's me not paying attention, not having control of the blade. So, when you're using sharp objects, whether it be knives, axes, or whatever's sharp, you have to have control of that blade. Therefore, handles is another big issue on the control. Is it comfortable? Is there enough there that you can hold the knife and blade and twist it and control it and hold it and do all your cuts comfortably? I mean, just using a square handle is not the most comfortable handle in the world. Can you control the blade? I mean, can you roll the blade between two fingers? Just pick up the knife, any knife, and just twist it, hold it, squeeze it. Does it feel comfortable when you squeeze it? Is there any hot spots in your hand? Can you feel the burning in your hand once you pick up the knife and squeeze it? Those are all tests to see if that knife fits you. So control means that you have to learn the knife. I mean, it's just like anything else, any other tool. You have to learn the tool. So until the next one, you guys get out in the backyard, whittle on a stick, try these methods, and learn the knife. And of course, when you do, you need to take plenty of knives, and you're going to need a bunch of Band-Aids. So take care, and we'll catch you again soon.